Why do dumb people always seem to win in life while you stay stuck? Have you ever actually asked yourself that question? Because I know I have. Many, many times, in fact. And it was on my mind again recently, and that's why I decided to make this video. And by the way, when I say dumb people, I don't mean, obviously, anyone with an actual mental disability. I mean the other kind of dumb. You know the type. The person who just isn't the sharpest tool in the toolbox. The kind of person who isn't hardworking, who doesn't seem to know anything about any matter really. They're not particularly motivated to do anything. They don't read all the books. They don't plan every move. They don't strategize. They just flow through life. They may not even be particularly good looking, but somehow they seem to get the best opportunities. And they always seem to end up with the very thing everybody else wants and has worked so hard to get, and it's just handed to them. And you don't know why. This is the kind of person I'm talking about. I bet you have at least one such person in your circle. Everybody knows at least one such person. They're the coworker who everybody is wondering how they even got the job because they don't really seem qualified for it or particularly competent at it. Yet they're the ones who keep getting promoted, even though everyone knows they're doing the bare minimum. They're the person who gets invited into rooms they didn't even know existed while you've been trying to earn that chance for years. They are the ones who stumble into opportunities you have been strategizing for and thinking hard for and educating yourself, even getting a second degree so that you can know everything there is to know to take advantage of them. Yet they stumble into the opportunity, zero knowledge, suddenly they're millionaires. And you're just sitting there observing that and thinking, how is this even fair? And most importantly, how is this even possible? It makes zero sense. Now, if you've had that thought, it doesn't mean that you're jealous or bitter. You are observing a real thing, a real pattern. Because there is a pattern here. Dumb people, or let's just say very simple people, often win in life in ways that very careful, highly intelligent people just don't. And it's not because life rewards stupidity or anything like that. But there is still a reason why dumb people seem to win in life while intelligent people don't. Hello, my beautiful superheroes. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hi. I'm Scarlet Grace, and this channel is all about helping you become the version of you who has it all. And by the way, if you feel stuck and you want better results in any area of your life without having to work even harder or constantly push things to change, you can work with me one-on-one. The link is in the description below. And if you prefer courses that you can do at your own pace, you will also find the links to my courses in the description. Now, when we think about dumb people and why they're so successful, we tend to focus on the wrong things. We tend to notice what is missing, what is lacking. Like they do not know anything about anything. They literally never educate themselves much, or they don't know what is going on the planet or in the country. How are they even surviving when they seem to lack basic knowledge about important and basic stuff? Or we notice that they don't seem to be making much of an effort really. They don't even seem to try to hide their flaws like other people do. But the reason that doesn't help us see why they seem to be so successful and win at everything is because we're looking at the wrong thing. Here's the difference between a person who is highly intelligent and a person who is simple and dumb. Simple people like that do not overthink. They simply don't, because they don't think much. And when you don't think much, you are not in danger of overthinking. People who are highly intelligent, and you can find studies that support that, I'm not pulling it out of thin air. People who are highly intelligent are the ones who are more at risk to develop depression or anxiety. And the reason for that is because they overthink and overanalyze everything. And this has many different ways it shows up in your life. and keeps you behind, keeps you stuck, keeps you from taking the action that you need to take to get the things that you want, and even keeps you from manifesting the things you want. And you're going to see exactly why and how this works. So when you're an overthinker, it can manifest in a few different ways. One of the ways it shows up is you may be the type of person who plans everything. You want to do something, and you feel that in order to start, you have to have all the facts. You cannot just go into something blindly because you had this exciting idea. No, who does that? So you want to start something, anything. It may be a business, for example. So you want to start a business, so you're thinking, okay, I don't know much about running a business or starting a business. I need to find 10 books that will make me educated into what it's like to run a business, how to run a successful business. And then you read those books and you realize that, if you have a business, you need to know how to sell. I don't know how to sell. I need to read another 10 books to learn how to sell, or watch 500 videos because there's 20 different people that are top right now in the world and talk about selling. So I need to watch all of that so that I have all the information, and maybe I need to join this webinar, this online program, do this course, get a business coach. And oh my God, if I have a business, I will need to hire people. How do you even hire people? Let me look into that. And then you spend 2 months looking into that. And then you find yourself 2 years later and you haven't started because you feel you don't have all the pieces yet. You don't have all the information. You're not ready. There's more things that you don't know. And what if you start too early without knowing all the necessary things and you fail, right? Intelligent people plan. Intelligent people have all their ducks in a row before they start something. Meanwhile, somebody who doesn't even think, they don't think about businesses or taxes or hiring people or learning how to sell. They just take their phone out and start shooting videos and uploading them on TikTok or somewhere. And within a month, they have a full-blown business. They don't even know what they need to do. If they didn't plan it, they didn't even know that they needed to know things for it to work. They will figure it out afterwards, so somebody else will come and rescue them and figure those things out for them. What they did was they started. They had this idea. They didn't think much about it. Oh, I could shoot a video right now, and they just shoot the video and upload it. That's all. There is no delay. There is no overthinking. There are no doubts. They don't analyze, do I have the ability to do this? Do I have the knowledge to go into business for this thing? They don't think about any of that. They just do. And between a person who does and a person who just prepares, the person who does is the one who has all the opportunities and all the chances because they're actually doing something. It's not just in their head. They're actually moving in one direction. So sooner or later, something will be successful. Whereas if you are locked in your mind and you just think and analyze and strategize and plan, but never actually take any action or move in any direction, you cannot take advantage of any opportunities because you're not in the flow of opportunities. You're in your head just planning. And that applies to manifesting your desires as well. It's not just about external action. There's people who decide, I want to have this. And they don't stop to think if that thing is too big, if it's possible or impossible, what goes into making it happen, so they don't get discouraged. And those people seem to be able to just think things into existence very easily. They approach it like children in a very simplistic manner. Like when you ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they tell you, I want to be a rock star, for example. They don't think about it. There is no logic when you're 5 years old that says, if I want to be a rock star, I need to be able to sing or play an instrument, which means that I need to persuade mom and dad to get me, a guitar instructor. And I also need a guitar. And what other equipment do I need? And oh my God, that's expensive. That means that I cannot start this year because even if I wait for Santa Claus to bring me the guitar as a gift, then I need other equipment And then I will have to wait for my birthday to get the rest of the things that I need because I don't make money, because 5-year-olds don't make money, and blah, 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 blah. And the industry is very hard to break into. Nothing like that exists in a 5-year-old's mind. And guess what? Nothing like that exists in simple people's mind, in dumb people's mind. They just start with, oh, that sounds so cool. And that's where it ends. They don't come up with all those things that you need to have before you start. So they don't start feeling that this is a difficult thing to make happen. They don't go into analyzing every single aspect of the situation and figuring out every potential problem so that they can come up with a solution in advance. They just decide, oh, this is what I want, and they imagine having it, and there's nothing between them and that life. They can easily transfer themselves there in their minds and imagine that it's happening right now. And there is no resistance, no blocks, no limiting belief standing in the way because they don't think about those things. It is too much for them. They never go that deep to realize that, oh, this might be difficult. They just don't. Well, if you are a highly intelligent person who likes to analyze and prepare, you're going to dig up a million different problems in advance way before you have to do anything about them. Way before you are at the point where you will realize if this is a legitimate problem you're facing or you got to skip it for whatever reason. You will literally be sitting on your couch, for example, thinking of all the steps and all the things that you need to do to become a successful rock star. You have already decided that this is an industry that it's difficult to break into. You have already decided that there's more people who are way more talented than you already who didn't make it, so it's a difficult thing to do. You have already created that assumption that it's difficult, that it's hard, that it's going to take a long time, that many super talented people fail, that you need to be super connected, so you have to work years on your connections. Otherwise, it doesn't even matter if you are the most talented guitar player in the world, for example. You will never make a huge career out of it. And then what you're probably going to do is you're going to try to figure out solutions for each of those problems. Now, again, those are problems that are not happening right now. Right now, you're just sitting on your couch thinking that you would really love to have a successful career as a rock star, for example. None of those problems exist right now because you haven't started moving in that direction. You're just a person sitting on their couch. Right now, nobody is rejecting you because you don't have the right connections and you cannot have a record deal or whatever. Right now, nobody's telling you that you're not talented enough. Right now, you may not even know people who are more talented than you but failed. That is all in your head. Those are problems that are not happening right now. And you may never have to face them, but if you focus on them, whatever you focus on starts existing in your reality. So if you have this idea that this is a difficult thing, difficulties will start coming up in your life around this thing. If you have this idea that you need to be very well connected to be successful in this, you will constantly struggle to get the right connections because you have this idea that I really need this. Without this, I cannot have the thing I want. And at the same time, you have the idea this is a difficult thing. So you will keep chasing it and it will keep being difficult because you created that situation by deciding, let's figure out all the things that I need to be successful in this and write down all the things that I need to resolve first. And by focusing and making a list, a mental list or a physical list of all the different issues and all the different aspects you have to address, when it wasn't even a problem that was happening right now because right now you're just sitting on the couch. Nothing else is happening. But when you make that list, you create the problem. You materialize it into your existence, into your life by focusing on it. Meanwhile, the person who doesn't think because they don't have the capacity to think deep, they don't think of any of that. They just don't. It doesn't occur to them. And because it doesn't occur to them, it doesn't occur in their reality either. It just doesn't come up. And that is why they will be out having a drink or a cup of coffee and somehow they will meet the exact right person they needed, and they will have the top connection they needed to start their career. They didn't even think that they needed it. It didn't even cross their mind. It just happened. Because they didn't imagine a problem. They didn't decide that this is a difficult thing and you need to chase it and work hard and spend time to get it. It doesn't happen automatically. They didn't think of any of that. They didn't even know they needed the thing. They just knew, oh, I want to be a successful rock star in their mind. And you can replace rock star with anything. That is just a random example. You can replace it with any desire that you have, any goal that you have in absolutely any area of your life. It doesn't really matter. The point is, if you're an intelligent person, you think too much, you analyze too much, and by analyzing and trying to predict problems in advance so that you can find solutions in advance and move faster, you end up creating those very problems that wouldn't even exist if you hadn't focused on them. And you are getting yourself stuck. You're creating obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, while somebody else who just doesn't think, exactly because they don't think and they don't analyze, they don't create the obstacles. And things just flow the way they want. And that connects with another thing that is very important, and you may have already started to guess what that is. People who are simplistic and don't think too deeply have very strong convictions. If you notice, from the people you know who are like that, the world for them is black and white. There are no areas of gray in any category of life. They know something and that's what it is. Again, it's like a 5-year-old. I know that this works this way. There is no room in their mind that something can be anything else other than what they know or what they decided it is. So if they decide that, oh, I'm going to do that, that's it in their mind. There is no gray area. There is no room for them to develop doubts. They just naturally have very strong conviction about something. Once they have this thought that, oh, I can do this, that's it. It doesn't move. Intelligent people usually struggle with belief. They think maybe it will work. Maybe if I do this, it will go my way. Maybe if I use all the things that I know to manifest what I want, hopefully it will turn out the way I want it to be. But they don't have this absolute faith, this unshakable conviction that simple people seem to have. Because they don't have it in any area of life. If you are a highly intelligent person who thinks a lot, you usually know that things are not black and white, that ideas are to be discussed. They're not all perfect. You can take a concept and you can interpret it in a negative way or in a positive way. There's room for a lot of things to happen around one simple statement, for example. But when you're a simple person, you don't think this way. Things are just black and white. Your mom told you you're beautiful. Your friends told you you're beautiful. That means that you're beautiful. You don't doubt it. You don't struggle with insecurities. Somebody at the bar told you that you have a nice singing voice and you decided, oh, that means I can be a singer because this random guy told me so. And yes, I know a person who literally believed that because somebody said that to her in a bar. But guess what? She sings and makes money out of it. Well, I have friends who are professional musicians. They really put a lot of effort and many years into learning music and how to sing correctly. And they are really, really talented by nature and they have the right connections and they make less money than this person. This person who decided to sing professionally because some random guy at the bar told her she has a nice singing voice, which may not even have been true. It might have been just a compliment to get her attention. But now she makes money out of it because once somebody told her you have a great singing voice, you could be a professional singer, that was it. It got locked into her brain. I could be a singer. Why am I not? Let's become a singer. I sing great. Everybody wants to hear me sing. That was it. No affirmations, no trying hard to convince herself that yes, she deserves it. Yes, she's talented. It just worked that way. And that's not the only person I know. I know another person who barely managed to graduate, but now she charges more than the people who were top of her class because she just thinks that, oh, I have a degree. Of course I'm going to charge a lot of money. That's it. It doesn't even cross her mind that she knows that she barely graduated. Doesn't matter, she has a degree, end of story. The other ones struggle with, am I the best in my field? Maybe I don't have the experience to charge that much, and they charge less, and people are not willing to pay them. The one person who is barely considered qualified to be doing this is charging way more than the most qualified and capable people in her field, just because she's so simplistic in her thinking that all she thinks is, I have a degree, of course I will charge that much. No internal struggle, nothing. There is no limiting belief in the way. There is no self-sabotage. Just a simple thought, I have a degree, of course I'm going to charge that much. End of story. There's no thought around it. Nothing. All the other people are struggling, battling themselves in their minds, feeling imposter syndrome, feeling that maybe they're taking advantage of people if they ask too much. None of that in that person's mind. And she just gets paid. People don't even ask, they just pay her. And that brings me to the other thing that connects to those things. Self-permission. People who don't overthink, they just give themselves permission to have the thing that they want. End of story. They don't try to justify it. They don't sit and think, am I good enough? Am I experienced enough? Have I tried enough? Have I worked hard for it? Is it fair or unfair for me to have this when other people have struggled more and they're more qualified? None of that exists in their minds. They just give themselves permission to have the thing. Meanwhile, highly intelligent people who have credentials and have put a lot of effort into something and a lot of suffering, they sit there and wonder if they should be doing it, if everybody will be laughing at them because they cannot do it right, if people are going to pay them if it's a job, if people are going to make fun of them for wanting it, if they're asking for too much. They don't just take what they want. They don't just decide that this is what I want. Of course I can have it, because everything I want, I can have. They keep fighting with doubts and insecurities. And usually what most people do without realizing it, and that's why you may feel stuck if you're one of those people who overthinks, is in order to give yourself permission to have something, you have to create some form of suffering in your life. And that can take many different forms. Like, for example, you cannot just have a great job in the field that you want. No, you have to prove that you deserve the job. You have to have all the credentials, and you have to work hard to gain the experience, and you have to spend years networking, and only then will you internally allow yourself to get that promotion without feeling like an imposter. Or like a useless person who just got the job because of their connections and isn't deserving of having that position. And that is why you may spend 5 years to get what you want, while a person who doesn't even think just gets the job. They decide they want this job today, within a month they have the job. And they feel great about it. There is no part of them saying, you're an imposter. People will realize that you are not who you say you are. You're not actually capable. You don't know all the things you say that you know. And you're going to be ridiculed, and they will kick you out, and everybody will be laughing at you and stuff like that. Nothing like that is ever in their head. And there is also no moralization. Many people, again, they feel that they need to prove to the world that they really deserve to have this thing, whatever the thing is, whether it's professional, money, a specific opportunity, a job, a vacation, whatever it is, you will notice it in the way people talk about things. You will tell a person, oh, what a lovely coat, for example, and they will tell you, oh, I got it at a discount. I usually don't splurge on things like that, but this one was a huge opportunity and blah, blah, blah. As if they need to justify buying something nice for themselves. with the money that they made. It's not like they stole the money. They don't have to justify how they spend it, but they will justify it. Like, don't think that this is how I live and everything comes easy to me. I actually work hard and I don't splurge on things like that, but I just stumbled upon a great opportunity. Or I took that vacation and that's because I was so tired, I was overworked, and my doctor said that I needed to take a few days off. Like, it's a vacation. You don't have to justify to anybody why you wanted a nice vacation. But people will justify it as if everybody is waiting and observing them, trying to find all the ways they're lazy and they don't deserve the life that they have, the money that they have, the job that they have, the opportunities that they have. Like, God forbid if they didn't almost kill themselves to earn the right to a vacation. If you keep thinking that you have to earn everything, your life will be a constant battle where you will constantly need to prove that you are worthy of the things that you want to have. Not because this is how life works, but because this is how you decided it needs to work, and you hard-coded this rule that I need to prove myself and I need to work hard to prove myself before I get anything nice. I need to make it so nobody can say I don't deserve it. For some reason, you decided that this is how things need to work. So this is how they end up working. Meanwhile, the people who don't have this rule, who just enjoy every nice thing and never think they don't deserve it, get all the nice things super fast. They just think of them and they get them, or they don't even think of them. They just keep happening, one after another, after another, after another, after another. Life is great. Life is easy. And there is this other thing that it truly broke my mind when I realized how it works and how it plays into all of this. And if you can relate, let me know in the comments, because truly that was world-changing for me. And here's what it is. You know that thing that you do where you dwell on the past, on opportunities you missed, or that thing that happened that you still feel you're making up for? Like, it happened in high school. Somebody made fun of you for something and you feel that it still affects your life because you still try to not embarrass yourself in the same way again, for example. Or somebody told you that you are not capable at something or not intelligent, and that was 20 years ago, but you still operate as if trying to prove to the world that that thing is not true, even though nobody has said that since then. You assume that people judge you based on that this is what they're secretly thinking about you, so you have to make up for it. You have to appear intelligent. Or if somebody told you that you're boring 10 years ago, you still feel that people may be thinking that you're boring, for example, and you're constantly trying to prove to others that you're not a boring person. So you watch all those videos about limiting beliefs and changing the past and getting rid of trauma, not necessarily big trauma, but those little traumatic events that make you insecure, that make you afraid of public speaking, for example, or approaching new people, or being your best self when dating. And all those things, and you spend so much time crafting affirmations to state that the opposite is true, or imagining a different past, and that's great. I'm not saying that all those things don't work and will not help you, but here's the thing that I noticed with the people in my life who are dumb. They don't think about any of that at all. Like, if you know a person like that for a long time, you know that black and white thing that I mentioned? Life is black or white. They don't have a gray area around their opinions. If you have a person like that and you know them long enough for them to have actually changed opinions on something, they will not try to justify to you why they changed their mind about something. And they will not feel bad about believing something else in the past or having done something else in the past. Like, you have the person who may have been a vegan for 5 years and basically annoying everybody who isn't vegan all the time about this matter because it's the one thing that is important in her life, for example. And that's because she had a boyfriend 5 years ago who was vegan, and that's how she became vegan. And now, suddenly, she's engaged to somebody else who isn't vegan, and suddenly she's not vegan and she doesn't understand why people become vegans. And you're sitting there and you're like, what? I mean, I can understand that you changed your mind for whatever reason, but how can you say you do not understand how somebody can be a vegan? You were a vegan, and a very vocal one, for 5 years, for example. What do you mean you cannot understand why people do it? And they will be like, oh, yeah, that was stupid. And that's where it ends. They will not try to justify their change of heart. They will not feel bad for being something that they now think is not okay to be. Nothing exists between back then and right now. It's like it belongs to two different people. Who they were before and who they are right now, those are two completely different people, and they don't have any reason to justify anything. They don't feel shame or guilt about anything that happened before. It's like it happened to a completely different person. Then is then, and now is now. And that's the vegan thing is just an example. It can be anything from a football team to political views to anything, even religious views. All those things are things I have encountered with people I know. And it's like they're two completely different people. And the time difference between when they believed one thing and were very vocal about it, and when they had the complete change of heart, maybe a week. It doesn't have to be years. It's not something that develops. Just like the person who you tell, oh, you have a beautiful singing voice, and that's it. It locks into their mind that this is reality for me now. This is the truth. And they don't think about it. That's how they change their mind. Somebody tells them something and they admire that somebody. They're into that somebody. They think that somebody is successful. It just gets installed right into their mind, and that's it. Nothing else matters. Doesn't need justification. They don't need to battle their beliefs. They can believe something for 20 years, and if something sounds better right now or fits their current goals better, bam, it just gets installed into their mind, and anything that existed before is just gone. It belonged to a different person. You know what that is called? That is identity shifting. That is what we do if we want to materialize absolutely any desire in our lives. They are masters at identity shifting because they have no judgment about their past. They don't dwell on what happened. They don't think about missed opportunities. All those things get erased. They're irrelevant to them. What happens and what is important is what is happening right now. Right now they want this thing. What matches that thing? They just go and be that thing. They don't have to grow into that. They just naturally become that, and nothing else matters. And if you talk to them about, but you know, up until 2 months ago when I last saw you, for example, you had completely different political views, or you were a vegan, or you believed this other thing, they will reply in a way as if that happened when they were 3 years old. Like, oh, silly me. And they don't have to dwell on that right now because, of course, I was young and stupid. Doesn't matter right now. Exactly the same way you would justify something stupid that you did when you were in kindergarten. And your parents may remember it. Maybe even a friend may remember it. But you don't feel the need to defend yourself right now because you were literally 3 and now you're, for example, 25 or 30. Kids will be kids and will do stupid things. That's basically the gist of it. And that's how they will reply to you. But it's not about something they did when they were 3. It is about something that they did for 20 years and they may be 40 right now. But a week later, complete change of heart. Now they believe something completely different and they will tell you to your face, and you will see the honesty in their eyes when they tell you, I don't get why people would be that. I don't get how people become vegan, for example, or I don't get how people can support that football team. And that's the thing that they did for years. But you can see the innocence in their eyes. They don't get the cognitive dissonance. They don't get how this is weird to somebody else, that they had such a complete change of heart, and they are not even defending that change in some way. They just push a button in their mind, and yeah, that's it. Why do I have to overthink it? Why do I have to have logical arguments? They don't have logical arguments because they don't think things deeply. And they don't feel the need to explain anything. They just adopt a different belief. And that's the end of it. They adopt a different identity, and that's the end of it. And all that struggle that people who overthink and people who are intelligent and analyze things, all that struggle that you go through to shift from your current identity to the identity that serves your goals, to the identity that matches the life that you want to have, they don't have that struggle. They literally push a button and forget about who they used to be. And the thing is, all those things, if you saw yourself in the version of the person who is an overthinker and an overanalyzer and not the person who is dumb, what you need to do is you need to actually ask yourself, why don't I do that? Why don't I do what the dumb person does? Because everything you do is just a decision. You can be intelligent, but keep the things from somebody else who you may not consider intelligent that makes their lives work better for them. Instead of creating a life where you need to struggle to prove your worth before you can have something, you can just decide that you're allowed to have it right now. Instead of creating a world where you need to hyperanalyze everything and come up with detailed plans and strategies to get what you want, you can just decide that this thing is yours and let it come to you instead of you frantically chasing it with all your might and power and getting exhausted by doing this. Instead of feeling like an imposter when you have spent time to develop a skill, you can just decide that you're great at it, and of course you deserve to charge a lot for it, for example, or do it in public and have people admire you. And that's the end of it. Instead of spending so much mental energy and exhausting yourself analyzing your beliefs and why you have them, you can just decide that this belongs to a different person. I don't need to justify it. I don't need to explain it. I don't need to have a logical reason why I changed my mind. I can allow myself to change my mind if whatever belief or opinion I had up until now isn't actually serving me and my goals and the life that I want to have. And adopt something new. Just decide that the world works differently now for me. Decide that now I'm a different person. Now I believe this. Doesn't matter what I believed 5 minutes ago. Doesn't matter if I believed that thing for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. It doesn't matter. I can just make the decision to believe something else. And I know I can make that decision because look at that person that I know who just decides something different and that's it. So you have proof that it actually works for people if you allow it to work. If you decide that this is how it works, instead of trying to analyze it and decide that it's difficult to change your beliefs and it requires a lot of time necessarily, and you need to spend a lot of time every day saying affirmations for it to change, and you need to do 3 different types of therapy and hypnosis and who knows what else, and only after 6 months or a year of that are you allowed to have a new belief. You can just decide that you have a new belief now and just persist in that belief. And instead of spending all that mental energy analyzing things and analyzing your flaws and trying to predict problems and fix them in advance, you can just decide that, oh, that is what I want to have now. Yeah, awesome. I can imagine myself in that scenario, and just imagine yourself in that scenario and adopt the beliefs that match that scenario and go out with your friends. Have fun. You have nothing else to do. You have so much more free time now because you don't have to analyze anything. And you don't have to torment yourself. You can just have fun like those people do. Just float through life expecting the best, and all the opportunities will come to you. And that is why and how the dumb people in this world get everything in life.